Jen Fall and we're in the Drums taxi cab going around Adweek Europe. Next up we've got Carla Buzasi, Editor-in-Chief at the Huffington Post UK, and we're going to get her thoughts on paywalls and native advertising. You recently added to your role and became Global Director of Huffington Post's Lifestyle.
Yeah. What we've seen over the last few years is that our lifestyle content is not only ramping up in terms of the people reading it, but the bloggers that are contributing to it as well. And I think Huffington Post is so known for news and politics. We really wanted to not only remind people that we've got this great lifestyle content, but put an investment there as well. Huffington Post is now in 11 different countries, we're on 5 different continents, and we're in a unique position to take not only the reporting on the news that's happening in those countries, but also the other themes, all these important things that make up a person's life, whether that's where they're travelling, their families, the topics that they're passionate about as well, and that isn't always news and politics. So what we're trying to do is marry the two together, and part of my new role is to make sure that we're getting the messages from all those different countries and bringing them to a global audience.
Looking at paywalls and metered access to content, the Huffington Post Chief Executive said that it's looking into charging for content, and that was likely to happen within the next 5 years.
At the moment, the content that we're creating is very much free for everyone to read. I think what he was trying to say in that instance was that every media company is looking into how they can have a sustainable future. Everyone wants to be making money, but certainly Huffington Post believes that we want to get as many people as possible to read that content. So I think in that interview there was very much talk about the Guardian and the Snowden content, and what he was saying there was, you know, that content had a premium on it as well, and would have been something the Guardian probably could have charged for.
What are your views on paywalls and metered access?
I think that paywalls work when the content that you're creating someone needs for their life. So I think the FT, for instance, I can totally understand why a paywall works there. The content they're creating helps people work in the city, but I think when you're creating generalized content, and you know, although the content we're creating is very specific and very unique, we're covering quite general topics, I think then you want to be free for all.
So native advertising is another, Huffington Post has kind of been held up as a case study of native advertising being used well. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Huffington Post is getting it right?
I think because we understand content and we understand our audience as well. The age of the advertorial is dead. I really believe that. I don't think you can trick a person who's grown up in the digital space into reading something that's not of interest to them. And as an editor, it's really interesting to me that we can now make money out of brilliant content as well. And it's really interesting working with agencies and clients who want to be experimental. As programmatic becomes more important on the other side of the advertising industry, native becomes very important as a polar opposite, but as a complement as well. So if people are doing something very, very efficiently, then hopefully that frees up time and money and creativity to create great brand experiences on the other side.
So Mashable's Pete Cashmore,
yes, we heard, that tweet went around everywhere.
Has said he's thinking of moving in to the UK. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm a huge fan of Mashable. I think it's really interesting seeing things. You can't really say Mashable's American, although it feels very American, you know, started in Aberdeen, but seeing lots of these sites, Huffington Post, one of the first to do that, BuzzFeed's come along, Mashable, Business Insider I think is launching soon as well. So seeing American sites moving over here, you need a team that are based in that country and that are creating content for an audience in that country. So you take the very best of that brand, the DNA as it were of that brand, but then you create a team around it who understand the audience in that country. And I think if Mashable and Business Insider do that, then they'll probably be big successes too. You can't create media now without being very aware of how social media has an impact on that. But at the heart of it, you have to be creating great content. I get asked a lot, how do you create content that goes viral? Which I think is the wrong way to look at it. How do you create great content that people want to read and want to pass on, to share? It's all very well having an amazing posting strategy, but if the content's no good, then no one else will read that. It's like having the best restaurant location. If the food's really useless, the restaurant won't survive.
And I don't know how much you'll be able to tell us about expansion plans for Huffington Post, other countries. I know India was talked about.
So and Jimmy Maymann mentioned India again. That's definitely on the roadmap for this year. Ariana Huffington grew up in Greece, and so we're hoping to launch a Greek edition as well. in the not too distant future.
Yeah, lots going on.
Lots going on. My priority for Huffington Post has always been and will always be to make it a household name in this country, and what's really gratifying is I think we're really getting there. The priority has to be create great content that people want to read, that they want to share, that touches people, it means something to them as well, and hopefully if we can have sort of some fun along the way, then that's great for everyone involved.